Hello everyone. In our last lectures, we discussed about dimensional modeling and we also discussed what are the issues with dimensional modeling, and we already take a look at an example in which we converted an ERD to a dimensional model. In this lecture, we will try to understand what is ETL. So ETL means extract, transform and load. So if we look at this picture, it is showing us the architecture of a data warehouse. Now in our previous lectures we already talked about what is the architecture of a data warehouse. Again, a data warehouse actually is a repository that keeps the history of data. It means that it actually loads historical data from different source systems. And what are these source systems? These source systems are OLTP systems or different management systems that are running inside an organization. Let's say we talk about our university. So in our university there can be multiple systems, OLTP systems available. Let's say admission department is using an OLTP system that records uh, that who is applying for a particular program in our university at a different campus. So this kind of information is stored in the admission system. When some of the candidates who applied and they are selected, their data is moved to the registration department. Now what does registration department do? They actually register the student against different courses for their first semester and for different other semesters. Now this type of data is available inside the registration system. Again, there is an account system that actually stores the information regarding the payment of fees or the submission of fees. So if we look at these three different OLTP systems, they are using different databases. So these are not connected by uh, some interrelated uh, connection between database, but these systems have their own databases. So uh, let's say when we say that we want to uh, start a data warehouse, so in order to start a data warehouse we will have to look at different business areas on which we want to build our data warehouse. Now again, one thing is there, when we talk about a data warehouse there can be multiple processes. For a multiple processes we have to design multiple star schema. Let's say I will give you an example. Let's say we have a business process that CEO want to see the fee submitted by students. So this is one process. And again, higher management wants to see uh, how many students are taking their classes. So this is another process. Now when you want to put all these processes inside a data warehouse, you have to look at different uh, in you have to look into a different system that are running inside a university. So uh, to collect the data inside the data warehouse, you will have to bring that data from those systems into the data warehouse. And now another important point here is that uh, now student is an entity, or student is a dimension that is involved in many different processes. So that dimension is actually part of different processes. So when we talk about different processes, actually we are talking about a data mart. So what is a mart? Inside a data warehouse, data mart is actually a single process, a combination of processes that makes it a data mart. But all the processes inside the data warehouse actually belong to the data warehouse. When we talk about a data mart is actually is uh, is a collection of one business process, or more than one business process, but not all the business process inside the data warehouse. Now coming back to the lecture, so if we look at this picture, this is an architecture of the data warehouse. So in data warehouse we have three tiers. It means in an architecture, when we have to move data from one layer to another layer, we make the layers between inside an architecture. So here are three layers. This is called uh, mm, tier 0, in which we are looking at different source systems from that are running inside the university or in any organization. So this source system can include our flat files, they can include our databases. Again, these systems actually have the data that is coming on a regular basis, on a daily basis. So from this source system we actually extract the data. Now again, the very important point here is that these systems actually store data in different formats. Let's say one system is storing student name as uh, in one single column. In another system, student name is being stored in two different columns as first name and last name. Now when you extract the data from different source system and you bring that data inside a data warehouse, again what you will have to do, again you will look at the data warehouse architecture or data warehouse star schema, and you will see how the name will store inside the data warehouse inside a dimension. And then when you will extract the data from source system, you will actually transform that data from the source system to a consistent look that can be stored inside a data warehouse. So uh, in some other cases, in most columns do not contain any value, they contain null values. So in order to actually fill those values, you have to transform the data. And in some other cases, the values can be junk inside the column, so you will have to clean those values and you have to put some meaningful values in those uh, junk values or in junk columns. So all uh, that process of transformation and cleaning is done inside the ETL. So what ETL do? ETL actually extract the data from system, transform the data, and then the data is loaded inside the data warehouse. Again, if the size of the data is large, so you will and the data warehouse will take more time to load inside the data warehouse. So this is tier 1. In tier 1 we actually get the data from ETL process and we load it inside the data warehouse. In tier 2 again, the data from the data warehouse is actually used to build cubes and used to build summary tables based upon our grain, and after that you can generate multiple reports based upon this summarized data. So again, if we go into the detail of the ETL cycle, so what ETL cycle does, in ETL size, uh, there are multiple source system involved. If we look at this system, this is the spider web that we discussed in our first lecture, in which multiple departments inside an organization are running different OLTP systems that are not connected or that are not joined using a central database, but they are using their own databases that are not connected, and there can be available some archive data that can be available on tape. So uh, data is extracted from these systems. Now data is extracted, can be extracted uh, daily, or it can be extracted on a specific time period. So the data is extracted from these legacy system and another OLTP systems. Then the data is transformed. Again, I already discussed, we have to transform the data uh, in a way that can be stored inside a data warehouse. In transformation, we have to make cleaning of the data. When some of the values may be missing, you have to fill those values. You maybe you have to change the format of different things. You have to actually um, maybe you have decided a particular pattern for cities, you have to actually transform that thing in again. And why you have to do that? You will do it because you need to store it inside a data warehouse, and data warehouse has its own structure. After this process, the data is loaded inside the data warehouse. Again, loading techniques can be different. So why these techniques can be different? Because it depends upon the size of the data. So after the data is loaded inside the data warehouse, the data warehouse server do its job, and it actually create summaries on that data. So the very important point here is temporary data storage, and we can also say that another term is data staging. What is data staging? Again, when you extract the data from these source systems, you have to bring that data in a temporary place, where you can actually perform the transformation and cleansing of the data before putting it into the data warehouse. So you need some uh, extra storage on a data warehouse server. So that staging area is used to actually transform the data. So and that storage area is not part of the data warehouse storage, but is actually a storage where actually you bring the data from the source system, you apply transformation, and after applying transformation you actually bring that data inside the data warehouse. So if we look at the cycle of the ETL, so in that cycle you extract the data from the different source systems. In that cycle you actually transform the data and you actually clean the data. You actually uh, make different formats of the data. You can actually fill the null values, you actually clean the junk values, and maybe based upon your grain inside the data warehouse you make your data in a format. Let's say the grain was to actually store the uh, weekly attendance of each student. So inside the source system the attendance of each student is stored on daily basis. When you want to store the attendance on a weekly basis, you will have to make the data in a way, you have to actually transform the data in a way that can be stored in a weekly format inside the data warehouse. And in this last cycle you actually bring the data inside the data warehouse using different loading techniques. So what is the overview of data extraction? So again, the first step is source system. From we extract data from source system, and that, and what are these source system? Again, we already discussed these source systems are OLTP system, transactional system, those systems that are actually recording transaction on a daily basis. uh, so when you actually extract the data from different source systems, now these source systems have been developed in different languages. Let's say a source system has been developed in Windows Forms, C Sharp Windows Forms. So C Sharp Windows Form is actually compatible with SQL Server. Now, when you have to bring that data from SQL Server to an Oracle server, you will have to use different drivers to actually bring that data from that SQL Server system to an Oracle system. Again, we look at different reasons why data extraction is very complex. So again, the very first point here is that very complex and poorly documented source system. When we say that a system, an OLTP system is very poorly documented, it means that we do not, developer of a data warehouse do not know about why and how the ERD was designed. So uh, if you want to design an ETL process to extract the data from the database, or different source system, first you will have to understand all the ERD relationships, and again, an ERD for a source system is very complex. It contains multiple business processes. When you want to bring data according to a single business process of data warehouse, you will have to actually look at the ERD, and you will have to actually identify which columns or which data from which table I have to bring inside our, actually I have to extract from the source system. So in order to do that, you will have to actually understand the ERD of that source system, and or an OLTP system. Again, data has to be extracted not once but number of times. Again, now in an OLTP system, data is actually recorded on a daily basis. So let's say our strategy of data warehouse is that we bring the data on weekends from the OLTP system to the data warehouse. So data again, uh, you have to bring the data on every weekend from that OLTP system to a data warehouse. So in order to do that, you will have to actually design a system that we need to run on a weekend to actually extract the data from different source system to a data warehouse. So when you are designing the process of ETL, actually the process of extraction from the OLTP system, so your process will depend on which extraction method you will choose to actually extract the data from the source systems. Again, there are different extraction method that we will discuss in our next slides. So again, your process of extraction will depend on your method you choose to extract the data and how to make extracted data available for further processing. And you will actually need a technique in which you will actually provide the data that you have extracted from the source system to actually to the next process in ETL, which is transformation. So again, I already discussed about data staging area, so you should uh, have the available space for the uh, data that you have extracted from the source system, so that you can actually apply multiple transformations on the data to actually load it inside the data warehouse. So in this slide, we will discuss what are the techniques or what are the types of data extraction that can be used to actually extract the data from the source system. So there can be logical extraction. Now, actually there are two types that are actually used. Logical extraction is actually the theoretical view that how we actually get the data from source systems, and physical means that how can we apply our tools to actually extract the data. So when we talk about logical extraction, we say that uh, there are two types inside the logical extraction: full extraction and incremental extraction. So what is a full extraction? Full extraction means that let's say today I am extracting data from the source system, from single source system. I will get the data. Actually, I will get all the data in all the tables inside the source system, and I will bring the data into the data staging area. What is incremental extraction? Incremental extraction is that I will try to extract that data that has been changed since the last extraction. Let's say I extracted the data yesterday. Um, now today I am getting the data, extracting the data also, but I will extract that data that has been changed since the last extraction, or that has been inserted since the last extraction. So I will bring that data from the source system in two ways. First, full extraction, I will bring the data from the source system as is it available inside the source system, and in incremental extraction I will bring that data only that has been changed in the last extraction, or that has been inserted since the last extraction. So in order to do that kind of extraction that actually picks that data that has been changed in the last extraction, you will have to apply multiple logic inside the source system that is maybe not possible for different source system, because there is no compensation, or there is no compromise to add more functionality inside the source system to actually get the change data from the source system.